Hi, my name is Pablo Requena, and a few months ago I made a couple of videos about how to make the rosette for a classical guitar. A few people have asked me about different aspects, so what I would like to do in this video is to tackle a couple of the jobs that people have been asking me about, and really it's about part of the process which goes in between the two jobs that I described in previous videos. So really this one would go in between those two. So what I would like to show you, the two jobs that I'm going to explain is, one of them is how to achieve the taper that you need to produce on the rod that you have made, or I have made here in this case, with the tile of the design that I've chosen. So once I have the tile or the rod made, before I cut it into little tiles like these ones, I need to produce a taper that will go all along the length of the rod, so that once I cut the tiles, they all have exactly the right shape, so that when they all come together, it will produce the arch that we need to have to go around the circle. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, this one I've got them all done and everything ready, so I'm going to explain first with a diagram, so that then when I actually do it, then you maybe understand better what I'm trying to achieve here. So if you come a little bit closer, you can see I've got these three drawings in here, and each one of these is 5 centimeter by 5 centimeter. So I have to enlarge it a little bit, and it will correspond to 5 millimeters square, which is the usual dimension for this type of rod to make the tiles. So this one actually, because of the rosette that I'm making, it's a copy of a Torres, and it will have two different elements on the center section. I'll show you here a picture so that we can see what we're doing. So this is an enlarged photograph of the rosette, and you can see that the center section remains square. The taper is only on the black ebony, which is this section here, which I've already done, but also it's really too small to be able to see on camera, so I'm going to do it in a different way so that you can actually understand what I've done. So now that we know that actually this one will remain square, so this one is not the one that we're going to do, it's this one here. I've already got a few cut. So the dimensions basically on this one, which have been enlarged so that we can see on the camera, we need to make the tapers so that they all go around. So what we do is to work out the distance between the center and the place where the tiles will sit. So in this one in particular, you'll see this one will go there, and the distance between the center and that inner edge is 50 millimeters. So with that 50 millimeters, to be able to work with this diagram, that 50 millimeters will be 500 millimeters. So if I get a ruler with this one, will be long enough. So you can see that in this first diagram, 50 millimeters will be 500, so it will come to this point, 500. So if I made an arch, or if I made the angle using this length, what this will do is that it will produce this taper along here. So if you come a little bit close, you can see that this is the right taper, so that it will go around the circle that I have worked out. But the problem is that then the tiles will be a little bit crooked. So what we need to do is to make half of the taper in one side and the other half in the other side. So to be able to have half of the taper, what we need to do is to do that taper using double the distance that we worked out. So in that case, we will need to use 100 millimeters, which also in terms for this drawing, it would be 1 meter. Or 1000 millimeters. So basically if I put this one here, that would be 1 meter. So I've got my mark there. So if I bring this into here and into there, you can see that that will give me half of the taper. So how do we apply that in real terms? So what we're going to do is, because we know that we have 50 millimeters between the center and the edge, and we multiply by 2, that gives us 100 millimeters. So what I've done is to mark a line 100 millimeters away from this edge, so this line here. So along that line I'm gonna clamp a ruler there, in here, and I'm gonna clamp the ruler onto the board. So now I'm gonna produce the first taper, which is half of the total taper that I need. So I'm going to use this one here because it's going to be a bit easier to see. Obviously it's not a tile, it's just a rod, which it will be the equivalent of that one, but it will be easier so that you can understand what I'm trying to explain. So we are going to put a little bit of a taper in one side and then we'll do it in the other side. So we're going to bring this into there, and then I'm going to have a block with sandpaper only in one end, and then I can rest the part that hasn't got sandpaper into here and start sanding the side. But to be able to know how much sanding I need to do, all I'm going to do is to mark with pencil one side, and then I'm going to put a cross in here because I want this face to be always on that side. I don't want to get it all mixed up and then find that the next one I'll do it that way. So now all I need to do is to start sanding it, and you can see it's already removing a little bit of this edge. So I need to keep going until the pencil is about to disappear. So pretty much like that. So now I know that I have half of the taper in one side, so I need to be doing in the other side. So I'm going to bring it down this way, and I'm going to put the pencil into here, remember the cross goes on this side, so you got your cross there. And now before we go ahead and do that one, what we need to do is to change the position of this ruler, which is we're using as a guide. So what we're going to do now is to do one line 50 millimeters away from this edge. And I'm not going to trace the line, I'm just going to let the ruler sit in that place there. And now I'm going to clamp it. And I'm going to clamp this end as well. So now I'm ready to start sanding the other side. So I'm going to put this in here. You can see it's sanding this edge, so it's cutting the edge that is closer to me. So you're going to have to do it quite carefully to do things as evenly as possible. So here I don't want to do any more because I know I'm pretty much there, so I'm just going to do a little bit on this end. think I'm going to clean the sandpaper because I want to clean. Okay, so now this is too small to be able to see it, but now I know that I have half of the taper in one side and half of the taper in the other side. So when I cut them up in pieces, these tiles will already have the right taper so that they come together properly. Okay, so that's one of the jobs that I wanted to explain. I've done that already on this one. You can see it's pretty much the same size, so I'm going to put that out of the way. And I've already cut some of the tiles here. So the next job that I wanted to explain is how to put everything together into the soundboard. So I'm going to get this, I'm going to just make a bit of room here. So I'm just going to take out a few things out of the way. I'm not going to need this anymore. That can go over there. Right, so to put everything together in the soundboard is quite a fiddly job, so and also time consuming. I've already done this half, as you can see here, and basically the way that I've done this is that I've got all the strips that I had, and I've been putting them in place and cutting them to length until I was able to have them all, and I've done it in such a way that it's not really tight into these ends here. Okay, so I got a little bit of space there. That will be important because later on, this is in one of the other videos, I will have to put a little a tool underneath to be able to lift everything up. So if this is really tight into there, it's just going to be really difficult to do that. So you can see this looks a bit messy, but that's not a problem because our fingerboard will come on top later on and it will hide everything. So I've got this one in place, so I'm going to put in the inner one. So I've got all the pieces ready here, and this is the kind of thing that, well, it's just fiddly and sometimes it jumps out, and so you just have to do it as many times as you have to, basically. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to look at my diagram, and I'm going to start with the black one, white and brown. Sorry, black, yeah, black, white and brown. So I've got my black, I've got white, and I have got brown. Okay, then I have another white. You can see that I have already pre-bent the strips, because even though they're flexible enough to go in, if they have a little bit of a curve on them, they will come in a bit easier to manage. Now I have to put in the squares, so that's what I'm putting in. That's the squares next. So as you can see, I'm trying to line them all up here. And then after the square, I've got white, which is already stuck into the squares. Brown, white, brown, white and green. So I got white, brown, white and green. Oh, sorry, I had one here already. White and green. Okay. So I'm going to bring these ones in. So what I do is that I put them in to that end there, like that. And then I'm going to use a pin to help me. As you can see, I've got already a few holes there. I don't mind because the glue is going to fill all those holes and it's going to keep everything together. So the sandwich is not going to be suffering because of it. And now I bring this around. I will try to make sure that they're not going to jump. And I can see that this white is a little bit too long, so I think I need to be using this other one, which is already been cut to length. So I'm going to have to take it out again and change that white. which is this one here, which goes, you can see that really to do the job you need to get these things in and out quite a few times. So it's the one going into there. I'm going to change it for this one. Right, and we're going to try again. So back in place, I'm going to put everything against the block. I'm going to put my pin in place, and now I bring everything around. Very careful not to break anything. And because I've already cut them to length, you can see that they just finish a little bit shorter from the block. Now I'm going to use this pin to hold everything in place. But that's not all. I still have a few more things to put in. I have the herringbone, which that will be the subject for another lesson, another time, because to make the herringbone actually is really a job on its own right, really. So anyway, I've got it done already, and I need to have half coming in from one side and the other half coming in from the other side, because they join into the middle so that all the points are facing towards the center. And then I have one green veneer, which is this one. Well, actually I'm going to have them together. So I've got green, white and black. Green, white and black. So I'm going to take this pin out. I'm going to put in the herringbone in place. And then I'm going to put these veneers in. And then I can put the pin back on, like that. And this herringbone has moved a little bit, so I need to push it in place that way. That's it. Now I can bring the veneers around. And now I'm going to put this pin in this end to hold everything together. Okay, so it's in. Whew, my goodness. Okay, so now I need to check that these two meet in the center joint of the soundboard, but I'm not too concerned at the moment, because once everything is in, I can still move things around. So what I want to do now is to start putting in the tiles. So yes, looking on this diagram, on this picture, I can see that the center tile is a black one. So I'm going to start with a black tile. I'm going to put a few here. And I'm going to pick up one of these. I don't know if you can see, but there's already a taper in there, which I've already made. So obviously it needs to go in a certain way, with the thinner side towards the center, and that goes in there. I'm going to move in that's it. And then the next one are the checkerboard. So I'm going to put one checkerboard in one side, I think I've got that one the other way around actually, because it doesn't fit very well. Let me see on this one. Yeah. And now this one, the way I put them in is that I hold them from one side, put them in like that, and then I turn it, and then I can lay it flat and bring it in. Now I need another black one. And another black one for this side. and then one of these here. Whoops. So I'm going to do a couple more, and you can see actually now this is a matter of repeating all of this until you go all the way around. Whoops. So you can see that actually you need tweezers to be able to pick them up, because to do it just with your fingers is just a bit too complicated. They're too small. And then the same, you can see I put them in one side like that, and then I turn it, and then once I've turned it I can bring it down. And the same on this side, and like that. So I'm going to leave it there because this is going to take me a little bit of time. All I need to do is to carry on to go all the way around until I get to the top. So now you can see how everything is coming together, and then in the videos that I've already done you can see actually how you take it out once everything is in, put the glue in and put everything back in. So all you need to do is to look at the other videos and you can see actually the final part of the job. But as it is now, really this is as much as we're gonna do here, and this is you know, it's an interesting process. It's quite everything is very fiddly because it's very small, but actually it's quite a lot of fun, and it's really satisfying to be able to see everything coming together. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope this is helpful. And as usual, if you have any questions or any information that you would like to know, send me an email and I will try to respond to reply to you as much as I can. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.